need to recognize in creativity that human mistakes, flaws, and shortcomings is part of the creative process.
In fact, that's what makes people interesting.
It gives you an open format where mistakes or formats of any sort are sort of ignored, right? And it's just laissez-faire with anything that you place on a page, and then maybe on the next review and edit session, then you decide what you're going to keep or not.